When I open my notebook, my mind goes blank, and I suddenly feel like I have nothing to contribute to society. I feel behind. I feel like I should have my life figured out and together, and I feel like I don't have any original ideas. The endless spiraling thoughts just consume me, and it's so overwhelming. I take all of those thoughts so personally, of not being good enough, not making anything worth looking at, not telling stories that's worth listening to. I think secretly I'm just afraid of those thoughts being true. I find myself leading with fear and not able to quite move past it most of the time. I come to address it later on, but usually by that time, the damage has already kind of started, and it's going to take time to heal from my own internal monologue. Earlier this year, I was diagnosed with social anxiety disorder and panic disorder, which are just two specific anxiety disorders. And when I was first diagnosed, I was constantly feeling like I was going crazy and that everyone was watching me, and that just everyone was also waiting for me to crack finally. It was impacting everyday life. I was affected at work. I had to call out a couple days. My video planning has also been affected. I've had just days where I cannot pick up the camera. It does not feel right to start complaining about stuff, and I didn't want to talk about any of this until I felt that I was at a point where I actually could, and thankfully I'm at that point now. It was also just affecting my personal life. I have had to reduce how much I drive. I'm scared of another panic attack while driving. I've had major panic attacks on the train. Those are very scary. Your heart rate will suddenly increase. You feel off balance. The whole world just feels like it's moving at a different speed than you are. And sometimes my vision would get blurry. Balance was really bad at times. And I felt like everyone on that train was just watching me. They weren't, but that's exactly how it felt. It felt like there was a bear just let loose and I was the only one that noticed. Of course, that wasn't the case either. And during the panic attacks, I know there's not any real threat, but my brain was interpreting everyday life as a threat. While driving, I've had to question if I need to pull over immediately or have my boyfriend drive instead, and that's a whole nother thing that I'm still working on. I mean, it took me long enough to get more comfortable on the train every day. There were definitely points that I thought I was about to pass out. It was very hard. It was very irrational now, thinking about it. But that was my experience for most of this year. At first, I was bottling up these panic attacks. I told myself that they would just go away and I would keep living on my life and forget it ever happened. And that never did happen. And my body would send out new signals, so that included dizziness, an increased heart rate just at random points for fun. It eventually affected my taste and my appetite, which was concerning because I never have had a problem with that before. And so my therapist recommended that I needed to go to a doctor and get checked out for any sort of medical condition before we proceed with anything else with therapy. And so I did that. Blood work, everything was great. I'm very thankful for that. My therapist continued right where we left off, and that's when she diagnosed me with those two anxiety disorders. And along the way, she's helped me just identify what I'm experiencing, kind of educating me on how the brain works and why it's doing the things that it does. And through all of this, I think it's kind of cheesy, but the thing that's helped me the most is talking about it and being honest with my doctor. And I've tried medication for a little bit, but it just did not work for me, and I know it works for other people, and I'm very glad that it does. I was having more side effects than I was having any benefit from it, so had to stay away from that. And eventually other testing showed that I had a genetic mutation that affects the dopamine and serotonin production in your body. So that makes sense. That's a lot of the problem. Obviously, not 100% of the problem, but that was some of it. And I've since been able to address that. That's been very helpful as well in this whole journey. I've learned so much about the brain. It's very fascinating to me that there is so much information that we know about all of that. How the amygdala, the vagus nerve, like all of the I can't even say it, and the parasympathetic, and I think that's what it's called, nervous system, I think. I don't know a lot about this, but understanding the rhythms that your body gets to, fight or flight, the rest and digest cycle, breathing exercises also are a huge one for me. Recently, like in the past month from right now, sighing, just taking a good deep breath, and then just forcefully letting that out instead of slowly trying to exhale is a natural stress relief thing that your body can do, and I find that very interesting. I've wrote out the worst case scenario of a panic attack on the train, and then I've also written out the exact same thing, but the best case scenario, which is I just go home like it was any other day. It's no wonder that my videos focus on mental health. I've been experiencing so much this year, and I've yearned for a creative outlet to let it out. That resulted in many reflection videos and a short film, which I am very proud of. I think with all of this, I've also learned the importance of self-compassion a little bit, and I feel like I'm dipping my toes in it all just a little bit right now. My biggest appreciation for myself is that I'm continuing anyway, and things obviously feel impossible from time to time, and keeping myself focused on video projects every few weeks has been a very rewarding process through all of this. I like to think of myself as a moderate risk taker that can be sometimes extreme, that can be sometimes very modest or not at all. My Goodbye Cincinnati video highlighted that, especially for me, I felt that leaving behind a city that you know for something completely new and different, that's a risk. That's a really big risk. There are so many things in that could have gone wrong, but in fact, I went through it all. We're here, and I'm very happy with that. And with that, I value growing. Just growth in general, I value so much, and the risks are where you can grow. With every video that I upload, there's some degree of risk. Sometimes they're a little bit more experimental. Some are more just for fun. And with all of that, I risk the audience that I'm building either loving it, hating it, leaving, blocking me, whatever. There's so many different things. I may find out I don't like a certain genre of video. I may find out I love this other type. I only find out by continuing anyway. I enjoy seeing what I can make, and the variety of stuff that I've been able to make is very enjoyable, to say the least, because there's a challenge with every video, and I still push through to the very end, and I persist. There are so many different ways to deal with emotions and anxiety. Art is one of those outlets for me. Physical, digital, traditional, non-traditional, experimental, anything else, and any sort of medium that can be fiber art, painting, videos. There's so many different things, and it can represent something to you and be a fun thing, even though it was such a dark point, possibly. I think the fact that I've been able to turn my anxiety into something visual, and especially my short film, How Does It Feel?, is quite the embodiment of taking this artistic flair, and I'm very happy with it. It makes me happy that I'm doing all of this. Showing up for myself to pursue my goal of telling stories about myself and my life and my experiences, this is how I do that. And it gets hard, but if everything were easy, it wouldn't be interesting. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was probably the hardest I've had to make, and it feels good to let all of this out. And recording this right now is honestly quite a healing process for me, so thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me. And my name is Christian, and I will see you next time.